Hey man, how are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Great man, the World Cup action is upon us, and yeah, before we get to that, I wanted to get your quick thoughts on the people that qualified. Scotland, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Namibia, the surprise one. Your quick thoughts on that.
Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, I think we probably expected it. But I mean,
Hmm, hmm.
you got to take your head out to Scotland and Namibia. I mean, wow, that was sensational. Especially Scotland, they were so clinical in the
Hmm,
qualifiers. I mean,
hmm,
they dropped the group and beating Bangladesh in the opening game was a real shocker. I mean,
hmm.
from my, I think it shocked, surprised everybody in the cricketing world. And
Yes,
I
yes.
mean, it goes to show. I mean, T20 is a format where you can't take your opponents lightly. It can come back to bite you, and that's exactly what happened. But I mean, they
Yeah.
were consistent throughout. I mean,
Hmm,
I
definitely.
think the
Yeah.
biggest achievement has been Namibia. I think they have been sensational. I mean, to get to where they have. I mean, after that first game against Sri Lanka, when they were skittled out for 96, I mean, not many gave them
Hmm,
a chance. But I mean, David Visa, I mean, he's been superb for them. I mean, unbelievable.
hmm.
Former Titans all-rounder, and he also played for the Proteas some 5 years back. And obviously, he
Yeah.
went to England, got a Colpack deal there, and then he managed to be eligible for Namibia because of his dad. His dad is Namibian,
Hmm,
and I think that's
hmm.
a real success story there. I mean, he's been the difference, I would say, between Namibia not qualifying and Namibia being where they are at the moment.
Hmm.
I think that inning against Netherlands, when they were, I'd say, in all sorts of trouble, I think they needed 120 plus, almost around 120 in the last 10, and then he came in and hit that quick fire 64. I think it was 38 balls, 39 balls. That was amazing. It took the game away from,
Yeah.
Netherlands. And I mean, yesterday, the bowling performance, I mean, I watched a bit of that game. The bowling was excellent against Ireland. And let's be honest, I mean, Ireland they're not an associate nation. They're one of the test playing nations. So, I mean, to do that was superb.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
mean, we know
really,
it's Sharjah. It's Sharjah. I mean, but they're
mm,
cool in the chase, eh? They kept their cool and they got
yeah,
home by
it's
8 wickets.
crazy.
And I think thoroughly deserved. Thoroughly deserved in the end.
Yeah, yeah. I always had that feeling that that if Visa performs, I think the rest will just follow. So now let's get into the main World Cup action. It's Australia versus South Africa, our beloved country. So, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, 2 days back, when they played the warm up game, and then Shamsi went off with a niggle. I was a little bit concerned. I must be honest, whether he was going to make it in time. But I mean, thankfully he's fit, and that's going to be a real boost for us because I mean, he's a match winner and he's the top bowler in the world at the moment in T20, so he's going to be vital. Uh, you know, looking at the Proteas, I mean, you're always going to get this question going where that monkey in the room in tournaments, it's there and it's becoming bigger and bigger. Uh, and I mean, who better to start the tournament than against a team that actually,
Yeah.
contributed to that monkey being on the back of the Proteas for so
Oh
many
yeah.
years. And
Yeah.
I guess this is a new journey for this team. I mean, there's a lot of
Hmm.
newcomers in this team, and I think the one uh, positive with this side has been their form this year. I think you talk about playing against the best teams, but I mean the the run into this tournament has been quite impressive. If I
Hmm.
look back at June and the tour of the West Indies, I mean, let's face it, I think the opening game didn't go too well. I mean, the West Indies really smashed us around there and won that one comfortably. But I mean, the way they came back in that series, and especially with the bowling, and
Hmm.
to me, that's a key factor going to this tournament. Is the bowling. The bowling's been really impressive, and I mean, to beat the Windies, which is obviously the defending champions, in their own backyard, I think was quite an achievement. I mean, we all say West Indies really pitch up in the big tournaments, and they don't really bother about series. But I think they had their best players in that series, and that is quite an achievement to win away from home, and to come back into the series and actually hold your nerve and win that 1-3-2, which is quite impressive. And obviously the tour of Ireland was impressive as well for the bowlers. I think the bowlers performed quite well there. The pitches were not the best in terms of batting. But I think the series that really impressed me was the Sri Lankan series, where this bowling attack really came to the fore, and that is really a confidence booster. And looking at the way the warm-up matches went, I mean, the first one against Afghanistan, we showed what we could do with the ball. We defended the score. It wasn't just the pitches. I mean, I had to. And then against Pakistan, I mean, that really surprised me. That was a fantastic chase. I mean, I guess, at one stage in that game where I think we needed like 19 of the last over. And
I think that match was a bit dewy. I think that match had a bit of dew, because I think in the last over, the poor guy conceded so many runs, like 20 runs, and then I think we won. Yeah, I think Pakistan made a century.
Dew is really going to be a factor in the night games. But I mean, my only sort of, I'd say, bit of concern here going into the game is into this tournament. I think the batting order. The batting order is obviously got to be, you got to get the right sort of combination going. And I think I think a guy like Pretorius is very underrated. I have to be honest, and I really rate him as a player, especially in this format. And I think he deserves a chance in this opening game, definitely. And I think the one concern in the batting lineup is probably Klassen. I think he's been, on and off a bit. He strikes it at around 150. If he gets in, I think Klassen is sort of the guy that in the last 5 overs he can do a lot of damage if he's in. I think Miller, although you see him as a finisher, but I think David Miller is a guy that needs to be utilized properly. And when I say utilized properly, I think he needs 7 or 8 overs. If he's in 7, 8 overs, I think he can do a lot of damage. He's a guy that, reminds you a lot of Lance Klusner. I think he's the one player that can hit a 6 piece of his very first ball or second ball. He's got that ability. And I think, you don't want to have a situation where he's coming in too late. I think you've got to give him the license to do what he does, and as being that finisher in the end, in the middle to the death overs. That's going to be that has to be his role. I don't know what's your thought on the opening lineup, but I think I would say de Kock obviously is going to open, and then I'd like to see Aiden Mark at the top of the order. But somehow I don't think that's going to happen, because I think they're going to go with de Kock and Bavuma, which, I mean, I don't really have a problem with Bavuma. It's just that, we're not really going to expect him to play those big shots. He's got to be the rotator. He's got to be that sort of guy that anchors the innings. He's got to be sort of like a Michael Devon sort of role, where he's just going to be running those ones and twos and keeping the scoreboard ticking. That's his role in the lineup. And I think what we wipe out is the dot balls. You don't have too many dot balls in innings. So if you can't get that boundary ball, you might as well go for those ones and twos and keep the scoreboard ticking. You've got to keep the scoreboard ticking. That's very, very important. So to me, I mean, like I just said, the real strength of this team is the bowling. I think the two quicks, in the lineup. Keshav, I'm sorry, Rabada and Nokia. I think they are really going to prove vital in the power play overs. And I think you probably got to keep Nokia for the death as well, because I think he showed his skills at the death as well. And I think Pretorius definitely deserves a game, and I hope he does play. I think he offers a great balance to the team with the bat and ball. And I mean, the three spinners. I mean, you really can't look past them. I mean, they've been so impressive, and they've been testament to the winning record that we've seen in the last 6 months or so. Keshav, Shamsi has been superb, and then Fortain, I think he can hold up at the end as well. So that is going to be key against this Australian team, which has been found wanting against the spinners, and I think we've seen it in that warm-up game against India as well, where they battle with the spinners early on. So I don't mind Bavuma trying a few things, maybe starting off with spin and trying to test the Aussie openers, because I mean, getting to Australia now, this is a side that's really come into the tournament and under the radar. But I mean, we all know what tournament Australia is like. I'd like to say more in the 50-over format than more in the T20, because I mean they've shown they've shown what they're capable of in the 50-over game. I think they're a side that I mentioned this before, that they really haven't found the combinations in T20 cricket. That much. They haven't found that consistency. They've been a really inconsistent side in T20 cricket, but I think their strength also lies in their bowling. I mean, they've got pace in Cummins and Stark. I think the one department that probably you can go after is their change bowlers, and probably that's going to be Stoiners and I mean, their spinners. I mean, there's a lot of talking point on the spinners, but I think those are the sort of bowlers that you probably got to target. You've got to target certain bowler, and that's how T20 cricket is. You've got to give respect to good bowlers, and you've got to target those bowlers that you can get runs off. Napa, we've seen a bit of him in the IPL. I mean, I don't think he's proved what he's really capable of, and I still think he's a decent bowler. If conditions suit him, he can take wickets. And then I think they're probably going to go with Ega as a second spinner. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely possible. I'm just trying to go through the squad here. We see, I mean, there's Mitchell Swepson. They could be playing him. There's obviously Zampa. So there's Zampa, and you mentioned about Agar. I think they probably will just play two spinners. I'll be very surprised that they're playing Mitchell Swepson, because he's not a bad option also.
Yeah, and then I think a guy that probably is going to come in is Mitchell Marsh, the all-rounder. And, he's probably at a torrid time. I think with injuries, we all know what happened last year as well with these injury problems. But, he's the sort of guy you got to be wary of, especially when you're bowling to him. I think the one positive, I would say, with regards to the Proteas now, the Australian batting lineup hasn't clicked that much. And I think that's probably their weakness at the moment in terms of their batting lineup. I mean, you look at Finch and you look at one of the two openers, I think they're woefully out of form. But, I mean, I don't want to sit here and rate, write off David Warner. And, I mean, I would say, in a once-off game, anything is possible. Anything is possible. But, I mean, looking at these two sides and taking into context, I would definitely say that the Proteas are rightly so going in as favourites. And that's not an understatement. I mean, looking at the warm-ups, I think the preparation has been as good as it can be.
Yeah, we won all the warm-ups, and they won one out of two. So we're definitely in a better space than they are.
Yeah, and I also think leading up to that, I mean, the Australian media is obviously talking a lot about the Bangladesh and West Indies series, that they didn't have their full strength sides and so forth. But I mean, you probably thought in the warm up games you'd get an idea as to where Australia is, and I think the warm up games probably gave an indication of where they are at the moment as a side. They obviously a side that can win the game with the ball, but I think battling with the bat in certain regards. So looking at this game, I mean, it is a T20 game, and I'm going to this game. I'd say, bullishly, I'd say we do have the team to get the job done. But I mean, Australians, they're a side that leaves everything on the field. I mean, they dig deep.
Yeah.
So I would go with a prediction where SA would win this game. SA will win this game, but I think it would be quite tight. It probably would go down to the last over.
Yeah, I concur. I never would have thought we'll ever say South Africa being favorites against Australia ever, especially when it comes to World Cups, because they've always had the wood on us. But it is kind of nice to say that we are favorites, especially against Australia. So I think this is one for the taking, and I never thought I'd say that as well. So I think if we can win this match, I think it's a nice confidence booster, and then I think there are some matches that we should win pretty comfortably, and then it'll be kind of fun afterwards.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly what you said. I mean, this game, if you can win this game, it's going to be such a confidence booster going into the next game against the West Indies. So, I mean, if you win those two games, I mean, you virtually guaranteed a spot in that knockout phase. I mean, you got to win the next two games against the qualifiers, and I mean, you into the semi-finals. So, I mean, that should be in the back of the team's mind at the moment, and I'm sure it is. I think they're going into a clear game plan, and I'm confident with the bowling lineup. I just feel these bowlers can get the job done. I honestly feel that for once, I mean, I've got no concerns with the bowling line, because I mean they've showed their potential in leading up to the World Cup and what they can offer, and I think these pitches are really going to suit them.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to go on to the next one. The next one is England and West Indies. This is a bit of an interesting one, because my head says England, but my heart is wanting West Indies to win. So, but also I feel that West Indies can win it, provided they're playing in Dubai, so I think this should be good for West Indies. I think the pitch should be good there, so I think they're very good at chase. I think if they play to their potential, I think they can win this one, because England don't have the best players there, so you never know.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'd say leading up to the World Cup, I wouldn't have too many concerns about the Windies. But I mean, these warm-up games has really concerned me in terms of how the Windies have played. And I never thought I'd say this, especially in a T20 World Cup, but the West Indies form has been a bit concerning, especially with the bat. They've really been, I think, I'd say. And I mean, England, we know they're a side that protects their team with batters. And I mean, if it's a flat deck, I think you're going to get runs. And obviously, I'd say, Abu Dhabi, we first game is playing, is probably a little bit more helpful to the bowlers. And Dubai is probably evens it out. I think there's a lot, there is runs to be scored. And if you get yourself in, and I think there's assistance for the fast bowlers as well. So, I mean, this is a fascinating contest. This is really a fascinating contest. I'd say England slightly have the edge here. Just in terms of the way it's gone in. But I think the Windies have something to prove here. They really have something to prove. I think they want to prove to everybody that they're a side that peaks at tournaments. And I've seen it before. I've seen the Chris Gayle show against England, and I wouldn't rule that out again. I wouldn't really rule that out against Sid. So
yeah, I think if you open the batting, I think Chris Gayle would be awesome if you open the batting.
absolutely, this could be a run fest, and like you said, yeah, your head's going with England because of what they've done in the warm-ups, and then your heart says the West Indies. But I'm just gonna go on tournament form. I'd say, the Windies, they really bat deep, and they've got players that can hit the ball out of the ground. So I'd go Windies in this one. I'd go the Windies to win this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna concur with you, even though my head does say England, but I want West Indies to win, so I'll go along with that. Okay, so do you want to let's go into tomorrow's fixture? Interesting match this one, eh? At 12 p.m. tomorrow, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. What are your thoughts on this one?
Sorry, I lost you there.
Oh, sorry. I said we can go to tomorrow's fixture. It's Bangladesh and Sri Lanka at 12 p.m. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this game, wow. Look, Sri Lanka have really been superb in the qualifiers. I think their bowling lineup has really impressed. I mean, I wouldn't say I'd say this going into the tournament because I think the team was woefully out of form, but they've been so impressive with the ball, especially Hasaranga and Kashira, the other off spinner, and even the quicks like Chamira and I'm just trying to get the other quick. You can help me. The other quick that came into the side.
Yes, hold on a second. Let me just look at the squad here quickly.
Kumara.
Yeah, Kumara.
Yeah, I've got it. It's Kumara, and he was superb yesterday against the Netherlands. I mean, bundling the Netherlands out for the 49 odd. That was superb. So Sri Lanka have the bowling attack too.
Yeah. Okay. You're right. Yeah. I think they have only two main fast bowlers, unless I'm miscounting somebody there. Because Tikshina, the spinner. Then you got Banura. Banura, the spinner also, isn't it? Banura.
Yeah. I think he bowls a bit of off spin. But look, just getting into this game, I think it's going to be a battle of the bowling lineups because I think both these teams have good bowling lineups. I mean, the batting actually flattered to deceive sometimes. I think the weakness in both teams is their batting lineups. So this is going to be an interesting game. Looking at both teams, I'd say Sri Lanka.
My God, they're playing at they're playing at the dreaded Charger. Oh gosh, what a venue!
Yeah, this is even money. But I think Sri Lanka does have the edge here because they've probably they've played their. They've just played their.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think they'll have the edge in this game here in terms of conditions.
Yeah.
So I mean, we saw it in the UPL as well with KKR playing in Sharjah, and they got the better of the conditions. So yeah, I expect Sri Lanka to get past this one, but it's not going to be easy. I mean, we know Bangladesh is going to fight.
Definitely. Yeah,
they're definitely going to fight. So
it'll also work in Bangladesh's favor because such as the venue. I guarantee you, if Bangladesh make 150 on that pitch, and with their spinners, they could surprise. So I'm hoping Sri Lanka can at least bat first and then bowl them out. Because I think chasing on that pitch might be, unless they restrict him to under 130, then I expect Sri Lanka to chase it. But anything more than that 150, I think Bangladesh will fancy themselves. So it all depends on that.
Look, Sharjah is a sort of surface that evens it out. I feel it really brings both, and you get these close. I would say a bit scrappy games sometimes. There's been a lot of scrappy games on this ground. So I think if Sri Lanka bat first, I can see them winning this game because I think they have the bowling attack.
But I wouldn't. The hit will tell me Sri Lanka, but but back in my mind, I feel if Bangladesh bat first and they make 150, they'll probably win it. But that's just my theory. But if Sri Lanka batting first and they make over 150, I think they'll win it. So it's kind of like that.
Well, I
But
mean,
yeah, I'll go.
there's teams that have got 150 at Sharjah, so good luck to Bangladesh if they can get to that total of 150. So
Fine. Okay, fine. Let me let me adjust it. 140 to 150. Let's say it that way.
Yeah, I'd still go with Sri Lanka here on the back that they've just won here.
Likewise.
And they're quite technically. And I think Bangladesh would fight, but I think Sri Lanka would probably come out on tops of this one.
Yeah, I think Sri Lanka will have a big confidence boost because they were 8 for 3 against Ireland. So I think they got to be careful not to be 8 for 3 against Bangladesh. I don't think they'll get away if they have that kind of start. So, but yes, Sri Lanka logically are favorites, but I won't underestimate Bangladesh. It could go either way.
Absolutely. Okay. And not in these difficult conditions, which you underestimate the Bangladesh team.
And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, what a cracker!
Oh, did you?
What a cracker! What a cracker!
Yeah.
And that's going to be played in Dubai, so you can expect lots of runs as well.
Thank God.
I mean, leading up into this game here, I think I've seen the way Pakistan have been playing with regards to the warm-up games. They've got quite an impressive bowling lineup, and I thought the way they bowled against the Indies was superb. And they came unstuck the other day against SA, but I think that was a fantastic century from Rassi that took the game away from them. So I mean, their side with a good balance, and I mean India also has that balance as well. I mean they've got the batting lineup, and they've got the bowlers as well. Leading up to this game as well, I'm looking at Pakistan, and Pakistan are probably talking a big game. And in a way, they're kind of putting pressure on themselves. And I feel Pakistan they try as much to control their emotions in this game, but it seems to get the better of them a lot of times. This game here, in particular, the emotions of it all gets the better of them. And I think a lot of this pre-talk that they've been talking about it and stuff, it's kind of putting them under pressure as well to perform. So I mean,
yeah,
you're better their sake that he doesn't implode on them. But I think India have probably shown they resolve in these games, and they've always seem to get the better of Pakistan more often than not in these tournaments. So yeah, I can see an Indian win here.
Yeah, likewise, but I don't think it'll be the end of the world.
Yeah.
But God forbid, should India lose to them, then I feel it'll be a bit of a problem, because then they'll have to play teams like New Zealand, and New Zealand have the wood on us. So I think India needs to win more against Pakistan than Pakistan needs to win more against India. Don't know if that makes any sense to you. So I think
that's how. I think if Pakistan do lose this game, I think it's going to be difficult as well, because I mean they're going to play New Zealand in the space of 2 days, and I mean New Zealand are be fresh. They're going to be playing their first game, so they're probably going to have an edge here in this game. So that's probably the one thing that's really going to be affecting Pakistan. I think they do have the bowling to cause problems. The batting, probably, I think they just got to get that lineup sorted out a bit. I think their problems are not with the opening partnership, but I think with number 3 and 4, it's who plays. I was impressed with Fakhar Zaman in the warm-ups, and I would actually like to see him open the innings, because I think he's quite an exciting player. But I somehow see this not going to happen. Probably going to go Rizwan and Babar Azam up front, and that probably is. I wouldn't say going to play into India's hands, but you kind of see it in that way, because I think Rizwan and Babar are probably two of the, they sort of almost the same sort of players, where they're more sort of accumulators than actual, guys that would, take the attack in the power plays. But I mean, we've seen some sensational innings from these two. So I mean, you wouldn't want to rule that out. But yeah, as I said, I give India the edge in this game. Yeah, but this could be a close one. This could be a close one.
Yeah, I think
you really
cannot. I think it's kind of funny. I think India would probably not mind batting first against Pakistan because they're quite good at defending. But though, I think it's a difficult one actually.
Yeah, I think Pakistan's chance of winning this game, their best chance of winning this game is probably batting first and putting a total on the board and then trying to defend it, because I think in the chase it's going to get tricky, and the psychological edge that India have over Pakistan, especially in tournament games, it's quite big. So this is a sort of monkey that they've got off their back as well, Pakistan. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a thrilling contest, no doubt about it. But
I guess
I just give India the edge.
On that. I was remembering in the final. They're going to take inspiration. They can refer to that, even though that was 50 overs. But, anything for them to get the inspiration.
Yeah, look, I mean, we know what happened with regards to the tours. I mean, a lot of teams cancel their tours to Pakistan, and that's the emotional. That's probably the emotional attachment that Pakistan are carrying into this tournament. They want to prove to the world that they are world beaters, and they are side worthy of being recognized. And we're not doubting the prowess of Pakistan, if you could. Not at all are we doing that. But those teams obviously didn't tour for their obvious reasons. But Pakistan have got to control their emotions. I think they into this tournament very, very emotionally charged, and they've really got to been able to channel those emotions. They've got to be level-headed here, and they've got to play each game as it comes, because I think if the emotions get to them, they really are going to be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, but I think they'll beat New Zealand. I think they've got to prove a point. And when Pakistan wants to prove a point, they're kind of dangerous. So I think, beware of them.
Absolutely.
Should they get through this group at 30 stages? So I think, so just to wrap this up, so we're expecting South Africa to win, and then I'm going to go West Indies as well, because even though the head does say England, but the heart does want West Indies to win. I think, then, okay, SA, West Indies. We concur that.
Yeah, look, you got to take it one game at a time. So this is a quick tournament. Hello?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yeah, I guess you got to take it one game at a time. This is a tournament that's really fast paced, and you're getting games quick and you're getting games quick and fast here. So I think a winning start is vital, and that gives the team so much confidence going into the next game. So I think whoever doesn't come out on tops in the opening game is obviously going to have a lot of work to do to make the playoffs. So it's advantage teams that are going to win their first game, and my predictions. I mean, I expect SA to edge this one against Australia. I mean, it's going to come down to the wire, but I expect them to edge it. Because I think our bowling is our strength, and I'd love to see us bat first and post a score and try and defend it, because that's how we won so many games. I think chasing would be a bit tricky. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out, but I mean,
if we don't chase anything more than 160, I think we should be okay. Because Australia don't have the worst bowling
Yeah,
attack. But also, I don't think Abu Dhabi is that bad of a pitch. I think we should be okay. Even if we chase on 6.
absolutely. It's probably one of the better pitches. But I
Yeah.
still think Dubai is probably a better pitch than
I guess, yeah.
So
So I think, yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean the Windies. I tipped them to win this one against England because I feel as much as England do have a lot of batting, I think the form of Owen Morgan is a bit of concern for them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think they are going to be missing a guy like Stokes and Archer as well. I think Archer and Stokes not being in this team is a big is a big hole for England because Archer is a bowler that can get wickets in the power play, and
Yes.
that's a big blow for England. Missing Stokes and Archer in this tournament, so that's going to be playing into the opposition's hands. And I think the Windies, they do have the batting lineup to get this one.
Okay, I think that's pretty much a wrap, eh? So I guess we shall chat again soon.
Yeah. We shall chat soon and review the week's games.
Yeah.
So chat to you soon.